Yeah, so I grew up in San Diego, and then I moved here for college.
Okay.
So I went to NYU.
Oh, alright. Okay.
So I've been here I moved here in 2007.
Oh, nice.
So that's...
That was a weird time to be here.
Yeah, so it was good. So anyways,
Cool.
been here a while. What about you? So you grew up in Long Island?
Grew up on Long Island, moved down to, went to high school in Long Island, and then went down to Tampa, went to the University of Tampa.
Okay.
Went there for 4 years.
Yeah.
And graduated about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
And so I've been down there ever since. I mean, I started dating my girlfriend that I live with now around like sophomore year.
Okay.
And then towards the end of school, we were like, well, I mean, I love New York. She loves Boston because she's from Massachusetts. So we kind of decided that instead of making that decision right away or going separately, just make things easy, we'll stay down here. I already had a job lined up at a place that I was kind of interning at.
Yeah.
And that's where I was working for a while. So we've been down there. We're probably going to be down there another year or so.
Okay.
Before moving back up
here
in this area, yeah.
And the debate will...
The debate will come again, but she wants to, she's into publishing, so I think she recognizes that New York is a little, it's kind of like the best option she's got if she wants to actually get into it.
Totally.
So.
Totally.
But yeah, that's what I'm up to now. I'm curious, how long ago did you start,
this company? Yeah, ask me anything, or how can I help you?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, I just read your article, and what's interesting is you wanted out just like, because I'm literally in the same scenario right now, and I'm understanding that dynamic of, I was working full-time at a startup. They were an app development agency, so they're building web and mobile, hybrid web and mobile on top of Salesforce. Sure. So it was like Salesforce was the back end for like big enterprise clients. I was doing marketing for them.
Gotcha.
But I was kind of on this like long leash, you know what I mean? Where, hey, you could do whatever you want. I was running the marketing essentially, like doing everything. And then, but it was like, hey, let's experiment with this, or let's try this out. Started creating content, and originally they were like, okay, well, we only want you to write blog posts that are just like, you know, Dom and Tom, the agency around here. They were like, we want you to write articles. Look at what they do. They're like 400-word articles. I'm like, that's not going to do anything. You know, I'm like, that's not going to help from a marketing standpoint. And so at that time, I was getting really into like content marketing, SEO, and just outside of work, learning as much as possible.
Gotcha. And
then in work, I was trying to do things, and I was like, oh yeah, go do it. But then like, no, we don't want you to do that much, or we want you to do this too. Yeah. So it got a little frustrating, and then because basically one deal started to go south, because they were growing really fast, and then hit like this wall because this one company just, whether or not they're just not a great client. You know, they tried to sue for their money back, things like that, because one thing went wrong. Sure. And so they kind of hit this wall, and they're like, whoa, okay, we have to scale things back a little bit. They wanted me to start doing more sales stuff. But all of our deals were coming through partnerships with Heroku and Salesforce, because they were account executives. So they were like, hey, I have someone who wants to build an app, and they're a Salesforce customer. Gotcha. We would build the app, and it would cost them, they would have to pay a lot in licensing for Salesforce. So it was kind of a good relationship, but I was just, you know, as my time at the company and what they wanted me to do started changing, my interests were misaligned there. So essentially I left to learn, so this is just a long story to where I'm at now. And so I left there in August. I got, and I don't know if you know Ryan Culp, the founder of FOMO. So I saw one of some of his stuff, and I was always interested. At the time, I was doing like a UI design course, so I was doing a lot of web design and like landing page building for when I was doing all the marketing. So I was doing like bottom up everything. So got into UI design, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I can like design apps, things like that. And I was like, but I can't build anything. And like being like more kind of entrepreneurial minded, I wanted to actually build the things that I was designing. Sure. So saw what Ryan Culp was doing, how he learned to program, actually this same scenario, how I reached out to you on Twitter. I was just like, hey, I read some of your stuff, and that was the first time that I had done that, and it worked out great. I mean, we had a good conversation, and it helped a lot. But so I left work, spent the last 3 months full time learning to program web apps in Ruby.
Okay.
So
Nice.
like I just finished the whole back end portion of this program called Launch School, which is really in depth learning Ruby, like object oriented programming, web development,
cool.
and SQL, and like the fundamentals and having a foundation in that. So I can build these programs now, all with the pretext that like I want to get into like growth marketing, being kind of like a marketing engineer or doing things for myself, you know. But so that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now. Is I did that for 3 months full time with savings. I still have a good deal of savings. This is kind of just part of the plan. But now my ultimate goal, what would make my life great, would be landing like a 20-hour per week retainer client in order to still continue to code or do the program for the front end, which is JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that way I could finish that within the next 6 months, because my bills are super low. Like living in Tampa, it's
much less than here.
I don't even try really. Like I don't have to try that much, and I spend less than like $2,300 a month. So like my rent is like $500.
Jesus, that's great.
So I just watch what I'm spending money on, and it's not hard to be like, okay, well I'm not gonna buy this. But so I have that luxury where I know with my like the value that I could bring to companies from even like an SEO content perspective, where they're either doing things really poorly or they're just not doing it at all. So really my main goal now is to find really going from that 0 clients to starting to do it on my own. Which is why I'm working with one of my friends, founded a really awesome barbershop / salon down in Tampa, and I'm helping her out. She has never done, they're killing it. They're like the official barber for the Lightning now, but they don't market themselves whatsoever. They don't, their website isn't optimized at all, their Google profile, their Yelp profile, all that. So I'm like, with these small changes, I could help you guys bring in more traffic and turn those people into appointments. So I'm doing that for free. I've got a friend or someone that I know here in Manhattan runs a kind of sales leadership. It's really a digital marketing consulting agency, but his specialty is in like sales leadership development, working with like CROs and CEOs to essentially improve their communications within their organization. And so I'm working with him. I'm kind of setting up he wants to start producing content, but he has like a little bit of time. So I'm helping him develop a system that he could work with only a couple hours a week to produce content and attract people in that echelon. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm doing the free work, and I'm planning on doing more of it, but I'm in that spot where I don't have like the client testimonials, to point to be like, hey, I only have the work that I did at my previous company, and some like little maybe side project stuff. But so that's where I'm at right now, is figuring out that trend, like
how to
selling that, and really just the selling side, selling that expertise, where gaining the confidence in myself to sell it, where I believe in myself, but also showing that in a conversation, in like a sales conversation.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know who, hey Sash.
You know who does this?
What? Well, so I actually took her.
So
I'll give you my 2 cents on this, for sure, and how I built it up, but she's like a good case study, because I took her from not knowing, she didn't know anything about marketing or SEO or anything, but over the last, year and a half, dove in super deep, learned a ton, right? And now just landed, was it a month or 2 ago, landed a 20-hour a month retainer for $5,000 a month.
Week.
Huh?
week.
20 hours a week, sorry.
20 hours a week, yeah.
20 hours a week for like 5K just retainer.
That's
right.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what.
How did you go? There's a good freaking example. You should get in this video. You want to come sit down?
Yeah.
It's good because I can tell you how I did it, which is great, and I will, or how I would approach it.
I'll say it first.
But you actually lived through me kind of helping you do it.
I did.
So
funny that you said this. So it's literally exactly what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So my background was in like social psychology, and then I actually got into writing and doing content production for like psych and sexual health and stuff. So it was really hard to be able to get that content out there because I can't run ads. So I had to figure out like weird ways to do it. And then I was doing that for myself. Like he believed in me. I had my own publication, and it just really wasn't going where I wanted to. Like couldn't make money off of it essentially. Like I could either sell ads, which I didn't want to do, or sell like sex toys, which I didn't really want to do. It was a very tricky situation. So instead, I actually came to help his company and like learn a bunch about marketing. And we took on some more clients, and he actually invested in this company that was a crypto production. Media company. And that's when I learned all about SEO and didn't want to do that anymore. So like had a million conversations with him about like how can I turn this, especially without case studies. So basically with a confidence, I mean, it's been mostly referrals from his company, to be honest. The people that I've met or like friends of friends. Like I haven't marketed myself for this, but I would say what I've learned the most is the confidence with it. Just saying, you know.
Well, how did you get, so the customer you have now, right?
Yeah.
You didn't even meet the person directly,
I didn't.
right?
Yeah.
So we host dinners here, like once every other month or whatever it is. There was a dinner, she was at it, so you were talking, I wasn't even at the dinner. You were talking about, with that person about marketing.
Basically.
And then, what even happened? I don't even know.
We were talking about content and how that's like, how I like to use a pillar for marketing. And he was like, oh, well, I have a friend who is looking for help with marketing. It's nothing crazy, blah, blah, blah. Do you want an intro? And I was like, sure. So I actually did not want to work with, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, I'll take the call. And I did, and he asked me some questions, but like I didn't provide any work samples or anything like that. I really looked into his stuff, his like current website, his current like online profile, and the whole call was just like me giving him a game plan. And from that, then I talked to someone else on the team, his PR person actually, kind of did the same thing. She asked me a lot of questions, like how I would go about doing things, and then I got the job.
And you gotta turn it into a contract and
exactly
whatever. But yeah, I mean that's essentially the approach that I always took in the early days. It's like you have people. I did it much longer though, right? I did like free work for like nine months.
Yeah,
right?
I'm shocked at this one, but I'd been doing.
Well, but I also know how to turn it. I wasn't trying to turn it into money, so I was like, I'll be more patient with it. This one I was like, you're in here.
He did it.
I was like, hey, I see this. We'll turn this into a contract for you. Because you're good at talking to people, but not necessarily like pulling money out of people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I'm at right now. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at with my So this is actually my the agency owner down here or up here in New York. Really, really smart, really talented guy. He's actually my friend's father, who I worked for, and like I worked for him in college. He got me into digital marketing because I was doing like grunt SEO work, like changing alt text on images and things like that for some of his clients, and it was like a slog. But I was getting into it, and I was like, oh my god, you could change the alt text on an image, and it was for a company that sells product e-commerce, and it was like the images will start ranking in Google, and then people, if they find them, they'll click through, and it will go to them instead of some affiliate site or something. And I was just so intrigued, so that's when I started deep diving and teaching myself this stuff, because I wasn't learning it in school.
Right.
But so through that relationship, I stayed in touch, just asking questions here and there, asking for advice. He even introed me to the person where I got my internship. Then that grew into doing all their marketing for them. And But with him, we have such a great relationship, and like as he's helped me a lot, and what he needs is a lot of work. Like I understand exactly like the type of I talked to him. He has like about 1 to 2 hours from an optimistic standpoint in terms of time that he could spend producing content.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, I need to, clearly understanding that, I need to help you put a system in place that you can either get the most out of that 1 to 2 hours, or you can produce as much as possible on these specific areas, and then I could fill it in with some examples. Let's say it's a blog post, fill it in with some examples to really fill it out, add the links, do all the publishing. But I know that that's like a good 5, maybe 10 hours of work a week, and I'm like, and even when I talked to him, the reason why, he's like, look, when I asked him this same question about lead generation, I was like, hey, like, where should I be focusing to make the most out of my time? And his thing was like, just do it for me, and I'll just, anyone that I talk to, I'll tell them that you're my guy. And I was like, that's exactly what I could hope for. But now I'm in this weird spot. I'm like, okay, if I do all this, if I keep doing this all for free over a long period of time, it's going to take up a lot of that time being used to do other things. Yeah. So I'm like turning that, me and him are having this conversation in like a few days. We've already touched on it before. It's not like he's not willing to pay me whatsoever, but trying to be like, I'd be happy to do this work for free if I could sustain the continued effort over time of doing it for free without having it put me in a hole. You know what I mean? So that's the situation I'm in right now.
See, it's different. Once you need that, like I didn't need, not that I didn't need the money. I was just like, I'm not going to take money right now. I was living super, you're $2,300 a month. I was living in New York City for like $1,500 a month, right? Like dirt cheap, making money in other ways. When I started making money though, I was like, all right, I'm just going to charge people like super cheap for things. But you can't like, all right, so in this situation, what I would do, and I don't know the full thing, but if you just keep working for free, you'll never get paid by this person, right? So there's a free for a reason. For me, when I was working for free, it was like, all right, I'm going to be doing stuff for people, helping them out, just so I can learn. The second, I was like, I always knew I could turn on a switch though, because I'm just good at figuring out how to make money. Yeah. And the way you really do that though, it's really simple. It's showing the value that you're going to provide someone, and then saying, here's what I'm going to do. Like, here's the plan, right? Here's what the value is, like that's going to be provided, and then you put price on it. Yeah. It's super simple, right? So like, if this guy, right, you're like, I'm going to produce 3 videos a week, or I don't know, I'm making this up, right? Yeah. 3 videos a week, you'll be in here for an hour, I'll film you, I'll chop it up, I'll create a blog post, we'll do that every week. In the month, you'll have X amount of pieces of content, blah, 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 and then like, here's a price for it, right? Normally, like if I was to do this later, like, market value is way higher, but since I'm new and I know this, I'm just trying to get my feet wet, just give me, a third of it. Yeah. Or whatever, something super, super simple, right? Yeah. But like, packaging it up into something. That's what you have to do. Yeah, so creating like, here is everything. And that's like what I'm planning on doing. My general idea was like, okay, well, this next month through January, I gave myself essentially before I have to actually like, okay, I need to like get a job or like start making money. Like I won't be out of savings, but that's when I hit this point where I'm like, okay, I have to like start bringing in money. It's like towards like end of January to middle of February. Okay. And so really my goal, my idea at the outset was just do some outreach, do as much essentially free work on the content strategy side. So saying, hey, I will do a complete SEO audit and everyone's doing that. You gotta do something different. No, but like create an entire content strategy for you to execute on going forward. For free, and here's a strategy here's the articles that you should write, here's the keywords, here's everything you need to execute on this. You just need to actually go out and create the content, because that's the part where people are either creating content and they're just not really, they're trying, but they're not doing it with any sort of a strategy in place. There's no like, you could just tell by looking at the content they're creating that there's no real strategy in place, or maybe they're making videos but they're not turning those into blog posts, things like that. So creating that strategy for them that lays out, hey, here's what you can produce. I think that's too much. I think you don't have to do that much. Okay. Here's what I think that you can actually do, right? is doing something like analyzing someone's site, similar to what she did. You're looking through and you're like, here's 5 things or whatever it is that you can do to actually increase sales or whatever it is, right? Like here's like I used to do this all the time with people.
Yeah.
I'd like look at their companies, I get to know them, like talk to them for an hour. I love uncovering their problems. So like just asking, what are your challenges, blah, 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 digging in, what have you tried, da-da. And then you start poking in like, all right, well, have you tried this? Or here's an idea, and there's like 5 things, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, that piques their interest. Like you mentioned like turning video into content, whatever, right? Like actually saying these things and actually, if you do an entire content strategy, like it's a lot of work, and you could do it.
And it's also like a lot of work on their end too.
Right, and then they're looking through it and whatever. Maybe you need to do that in some cases, but I think if you actually just give someone like 5 different ideas, or you're taking an existing piece of content, hey, I saw this piece of content, how did it perform? It didn't go anywhere. Great, so like, here's the 3 things I would have done differently to help you with that. Okay. Right, and so you're giving people little tips.
Very specific.
Very specific though, right? Because if you just generalize, yeah, you should be turning content and vlogs into written content. Okay, great. No. Like here's 3 pieces of content I see. Here's what you did wrong, right? The SEO audit or whatever. You're going through. Hey, this was not optimized. The length is too short. It needs to be 1,000 words. Your distribution was shit. Here's 3 different ways you could distribute it. And then if that could hit with some people, like it did with yours, right? It was enough. Right, that's all you had to do, and then it was like, cool, you've given me enough just value on like shit you know more than I do.